Hello, Oracles. Well, today we are going to discuss how Tesla is just like Legacy Auto, but better. There's a lot of different reasons that Tesla is better. We know most of them. But what are these similarities? There's a lot of similarities between Tesla and Legacy Auto. And it started to hit me as I was talking to my friend Tony over the weekend about how it's so similar. And when you take a step back and look at how Tesla operates and what their potential future could look like when it comes to cash flows, revenues, profits, it starts to look similar to Legacy Auto. And we've got some great charts from James Stevenson talking about all the different numbers for all of the manufacturers over this past year in 2022. And we'll get into that in a minute. All right, so the first thing we are going to be taking a look at here is this chart by James Stevenson, and Elon Musk actually took this chart and put it up there and tweeted it himself. So kudos to you, James. Well done. Love James's charts. If you guys do not follow him, I highly recommend it. He has been diving into numbers for years. So definitely recommend checking him out and seeing what he has to offer. And so looking at the chart here, you can see US light vehicle sales comparing 2022 versus 2021. So these are year over year numbers for all of these manufacturers. Tesla is up 44%. GM is also up by 3%. If you notice, everyone else is in the red. BMW and Hyundai are down 1%. Ford is down 2%. Subaru is down 5%. Toyota is down 10%. Mazda is down 11%. Stellantis is down 13%. VW, Volkswagen, is down 14%. Mitsubishi down 16%. Volvo is down 17%. Nissan down 25%, and Honda, as we had talked about previously, is down 33%. And so while this is just US light vehicle sales, it shows just the domination that Tesla has over the competition. We're seeing how Tesla is growing despite all of these headwinds that everyone is facing. Tesla shows that they can overcome these headwinds better than anyone else. That is very much what this chart is showing, is that Tesla can overcome these things because they operate differently. So now, how is it that Tesla operates similarly to all of these companies? Well, one of the things that I thought about was the fact that what does Legacy Auto do? Legacy Auto tries to sell as many vehicles as they possibly can, and they're not too worried about the margins on their vehicles because it's more important to them to get more vehicles out there. Because where does Legacy Auto get their profits from? They get the majority of their profits from parts and service. Well, they can't provide any parts and service to their vehicles if they don't have vehicles on the road. So that's why they don't mind making small margins on their vehicles, because it's more important to them to have more parts and service that they can provide in the future. So Tesla is kind of in a very similar situation right now. The difference is, even if Tesla cuts down their prices significantly, they're still going to be making more margin than all of Legacy Auto on their vehicles, and that's their ICE vehicles. That doesn't even include their EVs that they're not making any money on at all right now. So Tesla does that. Now we're looking at Tesla potentially doing the price cuts this year. Well, we've been talking about it a lot recently about it's very important for Tesla to get out as many vehicles as they can on the roads. And the reason being because in the future, they're going to be providing software, FSD, other things that people can purchase for their vehicles that are significantly higher margin. And the difference there is going to be when it comes to software, the margin on that is even higher than parts and service as well. So based upon the different theories that we've been having recently, Tesla is kind of running a very similar type of strategy to Legacy Auto, just kind of like on steroids, because they're coming out here with higher margins on their vehicles, and the add-ons later are going to be even higher margin as well. Now, also a big difference between the two is the fact that when it comes to Legacy Auto and their ICE vehicles, parts and service are because the vehicle is breaking down and needs something to fix it. Meanwhile, Tesla is actually just giving a good vehicle that isn't going to break down, and they're just going to be providing even more for you on top of it. Hey, you've got an awesome vehicle. Would you like to make it even better? Not, hey, we've given you a vehicle that now needs repair, so you want to bring it in here so we can make some big buco bucks on the fact that our vehicle isn't as good for you. So again, you can look at it as the similar strategy when it comes to getting as many vehicles out there as possible and getting add-on stuff for big margins later. But Tesla is doing it in a very positive manner, putting out a vehicle and then adding on even better features to it in the future. And this is one of the reasons why it's okay if Tesla takes a big margin hit this year. It's a very difficult macro environment. Look at what Tesla just showed in their US light vehicle sales. They're definitely facing headwinds better than everyone else. It's not like going through 2023, Tesla is going to be the only company facing these headwinds. Everyone is going to be facing these headwinds. So if people are concerned about Tesla potentially going bankrupt during 2023 because of all of the headwinds that they are going to be facing, what do you think is going to happen to legacy auto? Now, I don't think that Tesla is going to go bankrupt. Clearly, Elon, and we have discussed it many times on here, that Tesla has prepared themselves to handle this better than anyone else, not just in the automotive world, in all of manufacturing, and potentially the entire world for any company. They have no debt, they have a giant stockpile of cash, and they have a ton of free cash flow coming in. They are ready for this. So if Tesla fails, no one else is going to survive this either. So everyone would die. There would be no automotive market if Tesla does not survive this. That's just the reality of the situation. So if that comes to that, think about how bad legacy auto is going to be. So if Tesla's going to come out here and Tesla's going to be facing these headwinds, Tesla's going to be dropping their margins down, which of course we don't know for sure if that is going to happen. But if Tesla's dropping prices, we can make an assumption that that means that Tesla's margins will come down. If that's what's happening, again, what do you think is going to happen to legacy auto? Their margins will come down. They're going to have to come down on prices. They're going to be losing a lot more money. Don't forget, the EV revolution, EV adoption is taking over. We are already seeing this. It's growing significantly faster than anyone thought it would be growing. So if this is the case, people are going to be opting to take EVs. Sure, if we hit a recession, we're going to be in a situation where people are going to just want to spend less money. So sure, maybe they're going to go and get themselves an ICE vehicle just because it does not cost as much as a Tesla. But it's going to be very rare in that situation because people want EVs. We are already seeing this happening. So again, just take a look at these charts. Take a look at the fact that Tesla overcomes these headwinds better than anyone else. Tesla needs to get out as many vehicles as they possibly can. That is their game plan. And then in the future, they can sell all of these extra things, software, FSD, who knows what else Tesla is going to come up with in the future for their vehicles to be able to get very high margin tickets added onto their vehicles. And now in speaking with my friend Tony over the weekend, took a ride in his Model Y, showing some different things. He's got one of the very first ones that were delivered over here on the East Coast. He got it in May of 2020. So his wife just got one last year. So hers has significant improvements on it. Something we've learned from Tesla in the past is going through their manufacturing process. When somebody comes up with an idea for something, if it's something that works, they're going to go through all the testing on it. If that test comes out to actually improve the vehicle, they're going to then change it right there on the line. They then go through, and if it needs a software update of some sort, you're going to end up having vehicles with this new hardware in it, and then they'll give out a software update, which in turn is going to activate whatever that hardware was that they put in the vehicle, and now your vehicle becomes better. Tony actually saw this with his vehicle when he first purchased it. He started to see the range coming down a little bit on his Y, and then all of a sudden they came up with a software update, and then whoop, it bumped up by 10 miles. So he got 10 miles more range because of it. Now in his wife's vehicle, she has this, and it's been sitting at 330 miles of range, and it has not budged at all. She also has some extra different hardware things. She's got better cameras in her vehicle. So Tesla is constantly improving their vehicles. Unlike legacy auto, who's going to do like, hey, we're going to do a new model year run. So they have to go through all these different tests and they try to run all of their vehicles out for the 2022 year. And they're going to start selling the 2023 model. Tesla doesn't really do that. They just change things on the fly as they're going. They see something that needs to be improved. They just improve it and keep on going. It doesn't work that way with legacy auto. We've also heard in the past that when it comes to major design changes for them, it could be upwards of a 10-year process to make all of this happen, where Tesla makes it a 10-minute process in some cases. So, that's just the speed at what Tesla works at. And then discussing some of the other things. Now, when this is coming down to ownership of a vehicle, and this is kind of some education to some of you who maybe don't own a Tesla yet. Now, I don't own one. This is why I talk to Tony and a lot of you guys as Tesla owners, because it's very important to know. And yes, I want to get one. And of course, talking with Tony, I'm like, ooh, do I just go and buy one now? But really trying to be wise, I'd rather put my money into the stock at the moment. But if the channel starts doing really well and they come down on the prices for the Model Y, I might just go and get one sooner than I thought. I'll keep you guys posted on that. But looking at some of the different things and cost savings on this, Tony gave me some great information. And so I'm going to go into some of the cost savings that he has right now when it comes to his Model Y. One of the things that he didn't even think about when he first got it was time savings. Coming home from work late at night, instead of having to go and drive out of your way to go stop and get gas somewhere, even if it's on the way, could be 5 minutes. Sure, 5 minutes isn't a lot, but it's not as convenient as just driving straight home and plugging in your vehicle. That's way more convenient. One of the complaints that we hear out there right now is the fact that it takes a long time to charge as opposed to just putting gas in your vehicle. This is one of the things that I'm kind of stuck with right now because I don't own a house. I don't have a place to plug in at home. So if I need to charge, I have to do it out on the road. So it may take me 20 to 30 minutes to get the charge up to where I need it to be. Now, looking at someone who actually does have a home and can plug in at home, you think about, let's say you had to stop for gas twice a week, and each stop is 5 minutes. That means at the end of the month, you're going to be roughly around that 40-minute mark when it comes to actual time spent pumping gas into your vehicle. If you've got a charger at home, you just come home and plug it in. Guess what? You just saved 40 minutes of time over that course of the month. Now, let's say over the course of the month, you have to stop at a supercharger twice. And each time you stop there, it's about 20 minutes because it'll get you to about 80 to 85% in 20 minutes if you stop at one of the chargers that's 250 kilowatts. You stop there, now all of a sudden you're looking at 40 minutes of time for the course of the month to get those two charges. Now you're at just the same time that you would spend pumping gas. So sure, the actual stay itself at the pump or at the charger is going to be different, but over the course of the month, it's less time driving there and back, less time having to stop, less touching of things. That's another thing too. When you go there, you don't have to take your credit card out. You don't have to put it into the machine to take your credit card. I've had my credit card number stolen at a gas pump and at an ATM because somebody had put a skimmer in there. So they stole my card, all of my information. They ended up taking money from me. So I had to go through a whole big mess for all of that. When it comes to the superchargers, you don't have to. Just take it out, plug it in. Because when you plug it in, it makes the connection with Tesla and your vehicle. And now Tesla knows, oh, here's Tim's car. Tim's charging right now. This is what we're going to charge him. We have his credit card on file. Awesome. We're all good to go. No issues. So again, just one less step that you have to go through when you're charging your vehicle. Now, how many times have you gone to a gas pump and the gas pump doesn't work? Me personally, I hate going inside. I'm a guy, I just want to just not talk to anyone, go pump the gas. So if I go over there and the pump isn't working or it says, see attendant, it drives me nuts. Sometimes I've just driven away. If I don't desperately need gas, I'll just drive away. I'll go find another one. I'm just that kind of guy. That's who I am. But again, you don't have to worry about that at the supercharger because you don't have to see an attendant because guess what? There isn't an attendant. And then when we're looking at actual dollar savings, Tony used to have a RAV4. So he was going through and tracking all of the numbers that he would spend for fuel on all of that, and then switching over to the Model Y. So I have all the paperwork here. I'll get it loaded up onto my computer so I can share it with you guys later. I just don't have an opportunity to do that right now, but I'll give you guys the numbers that he's got. So the first year of savings, he saved about $1,700 in fuel. Now, Tony doesn't drive too far for work. It's about 20 to 30 minutes for him for his commute, but he does drive out of the state every once in a while to visit family. So he does have some longer trips that he goes on. So it does factor out. And it is true that the more you drive, the more you're going to save. That is just natural. For me right now, I have a 1.5 mile commute to work each way. So other than the fact that I get my son, my commute for work is not much. So I am not going to be saving a lot when it comes to all of the fuel savings. But looking at the numbers that he's given it, it's about 40 to 50% savings on fuel when it comes to a total year basis. So the more you spend, the more you save. So if you're somebody who is spending $4,000 in fuel for the year, you're probably going to be saving about $2,000 per year in fuel. And that's exactly what Tony ended up saving in the second year. He saved $2,000 on fuel in the second year. And when it comes to maintenance on the vehicle, in the 2.5 years that he has owned it, he has spent just under $1,300 in maintenance on the vehicle. $1,200 of that was for new tires. So that's really the big expense. Then he had a couple of HEPA filters and a gallon of windshield washer fluid. That's all the maintenance he's had to do in 2.5 years on his vehicle. And his wife's numbers are even better. She's only had this for 6 months, but her savings are even better on fuel. She had an older Volvo SUV that was just sucking gas up like crazy. She has a longer commute to work, gets stuck in traffic a lot. She drives more on a regular basis. So because of that, she's spending more money on fuel. But when you look at year over year in October for her, she actually drove 600 more miles in 2022 October than she did in 2021 October. And she ended up saving about $190 in fuel just for October. And she drove even more miles. So significant savings when it comes to fuel. And a lot of times people just don't look long term. We talk about it with the stock all the time. So many people are just like living in the moment and so upset by the stock price at where we are right now. You go through tough times like this, but you have to look at the bigger picture. Look longer term. When you start looking longer term and you see how all of these numbers play out over the long term, you can truly see how much money you are actually saving. And then think about the fact that once she's done paying for this vehicle, that's even more money in her pocket, and she's still going to continue all of those savings. Now, they do have solar panels at home, so that does help with the energy costs at home. So now you start thinking about the fact that if electricity prices go up, she's saving even more. Gas prices go up, they're saving even more money. So this is something that if you start generating your own power and you're living on your own grid, you got solar panels, you can get a power wall, which they don't have yet, but they are looking at that. And here in Connecticut, they make it as hard as possible for you to go and get yourself to be green. Connecticut's like, we want you to go green. We're going to help you out, but we're going to make it as hard as possible for you to actually make that happen. Drives me insane, but that's just the situation we're in. And getting that power wall will actually save them even more money as they go forward. And so to just finish it off today, I wanted to go into the inventory that we are seeing here in the US. An update from Troy TSLA. Model Y inventory in the US is at an all-time high. Tesla needs to make a move. They could release Model Y standard range for 55,000, sell software limited Model Y long range for 55,000 with option to unlock after delivery, add more weight and battery to the 5-seater Y to get to the $80,000 MSRP limit. And then Troy here breaks down where all the limits are, and only 15% of buyers prefer the 7-seat version. And then he adds, I think this could work, release the Model Y standard range for 54,000 and make the 7-seat option free instead of 3,000 and make the Model Y Performance available with 7 seats. A long-term solution would be to add air suspension to Model Y to increase ground clearance and get the $80,000 MSRP limit. And then our very own Tesla Karav, Troy China just updated wait times. Yes, I know Model Y standard range and long range changed from 1 to 4 weeks to 2 to 5 weeks, but these are still 1 to 4 weeks. Model Y Performance, Model 3 Performance, Model 3 standard range. This is normal considering they had 25,000 unsold cars in China. Once those are sold, the wait time for all trim levels should increase. And so again, this is just that near-term headwind that we are facing when it comes to the economy, prices coming down. We've been discussing that for a few days now, and I am anticipating that Tesla is going to be announcing something relatively soon as to what they're going to be doing for the EV tax credit. For you guys who saw the other day, in my area alone, which includes Rhode Island, the Boston area, and New York City area, there were 92 Model Ys and 25 Model 3s available in inventory right now. So I know Tesla is going to have to do something to get aggressive to make these move a little bit more, similar to what we saw at the end of 2022 when they gave the $7,500 discount and inventory plummeted almost immediately. So this is just something that we're going to be watching. I have a feeling Tesla is going to be announcing something soon. We've got a lot going on. This week, we also have the CPI data coming out on Thursday. We're going to have earnings coming up on the 25th. Alexandra's going to be on the channel on Friday the 13th. I'm going to be over on Peggy's channel on Saturday the 14th. Lots of awesome, exciting stuff going on this week. Lots of things to be discussing about Tesla. So you guys can let me know in the comments below, what are your experiences with your Tesla if you own one? What are the differences between the ICE vehicle that you previously had and owning a Tesla now? And if you guys own a different EV, share your experiences with that as well, because it's good to understand the difference between ICE and EVs, even when it's not just a Tesla. So please share in the comments below if you guys are owners and the biggest differences you have seen going between the ICE vehicles and your EV. Thank you all so much. Have a great one.